Perfect.
Welcome back to this tutorial video. Today we got do all high schoolers think the same, and it's Jubilee. We all know we on Jubilee. We took a little deranged from cut for a bit, but you know how it is. And also, yes, I did make an announcement on previous episode on 3 uploads a week, but it officially starts next week. You can always get 3 uploads, and it basically the third upload is RNG. Wednesday and Sunday are technically confirmed at it, but yeah, I like to say on that, if y'all don't know when it's coming, just hit the noties and you'll find out. Just hit the noties, hit the sub, you'll find out, you'll figure it out, because you will get the notification, saying where you hit it at, where you're at it. So the sub is free. I'm just saying the sub is free. Hit the noties. That's all I'm saying. Y'all notify you know when the videos drop. But yeah, I feel like nonetheless, let's get straight to this joint. This bit. Let's get it.
An iPad kid, I'm like, wow, what job is he gonna have? He knows more about scrolling to the next video than like anything that will help him get a job.
Okay. Well, this is high school, so you know how they're gonna be like. Oh my.
High schoolers are kids.
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, I don't know where she's going, but whatever. I
feel like to say
I'm
high schoolers in general are kids is almost like defeating the people who are in the minority. Like for people like me who have grown up more just mature for my age and I guess fitting more an adult mindset, I feel like I can't say for myself that I'm a kid because I definitely make adult decisions time and time again.
Okay,
I mean, there are people who still have the mindset of kids, but I can't say high schoolers in general are kids.
I feel like with high school, it's such a broad statement to say high schoolers because there's a giant difference between a freshman and a senior. Like that's why like when they try to date each other, it's like, why is that 18-year-old trying to date the 14-year-old? Like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I feel like it would be naive to ignore the fact that like, especially anyone who's a senior, they're about to be a legal adult.
I think kids need mentoring. That's how I see it. I mean, adults too need mentoring, but I think kids need that extra help and that extra push. I've seen many kids who have been forced to be older or act older as they are to mature faster. That's why I went for agree.
I want to move. You want to move? Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I
Talk
don't even
us
know if I
through.
could.
What are you thinking?
Well, I agree. I feel like there's just so many decisions, especially in high school, that we have to make that are not like kid-like, and they expect us to act a certain way. And also like the fact that we're even able to drive, how should we still be considered a kid?
Do you mind if I move? Yeah.
Well, we're like,
I moved because I feel like, especially at that 16 to 18 age, you're constantly planning for your future where it's actually difficult to live in your childhood. It's just kind of, you're unable to live as a child. So it's like, how can you consider yourself one when you're constantly planning for your adult life and future?
When I was a freshman, all the teachers around me always told me that I needed to prepare for my future. And I feel like, especially coming after online school and
prepare for your future.
I'm still living in that middle schooler mindset. I'm still basically like a kid living and preparing for my future.
Yeah, you're still like you're not there type of thing.
I feel like kid is kind of a weird word. So like it's just kid and adult. And I feel like in high school, I kind of want to be thought of as a kid because it's kind of like, oh, he's a kid, right? It's like an excuse almost. Like you're allowed to mess up. I really can't like look at my classes full of 18-year-olds and say, these are adults. Like, I feel like now it's later and later we're turning into adults. I don't feel like we turn in. I mean, of course, there's people that have to pay bills.
When you're 21, I feel like you're.
But say a high schooler,
I feel like when you're 18 and over, I feel like you're an adult.
So much.
I feel like I don't know. 18.
Oh, I did that when I was a kid, not as an adult.
But whatever. I'm not the government.
Today's high schoolers have it harder than previous generations. 3, 2, 1,
Nah,
go.
I kind of disagree. Have it harder? No way. No way. Maybe with bullying, but like not like in like.
I feel like now our generation, we have more resources for help that we need.
Yes, there you go.
And way back then, like mental health, that was like, they would put you straight to camp or like some conversion, stuff like that. But I feel like now there's just more resources.
Yes.
We have the internet, we have the media.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
would you have wanted to send a pigeon to your friend instead of texting your friend, like, stuff like that. Like, would you want to have, we just have it easier now.
I feel like it's an in-between thing because I feel like social situations now are much better, but back then they were much worse.
I'm not in the strongly or
racism. Teachers could beat their own kids, and I feel like now there's so much things that we cannot do, and I feel like it's for the better.
Can I move?
When I think about this question, I kind of like went to bullying and how much easier it is to get bullied nowadays, especially on social media. Because it's so easy to hide behind a screen, people say worse things. And I think that mental health, maybe it was just as bad back in the day, but because of social media, it's become more prominent and we see it everywhere. Another thing that I also thought about was you guys say that we have more resources, but don't you?
And they can be like, what's so hard?
But I feel that the resources have kind of made us a little less smart. Because we're able to look up like the answers to our test, or like, I don't know, everything's just so much more accessible that I'm not really learning as much as like my mom and dad.
More lazy,
So I kind of like
100%.
sad that all our resources are so much more accessible.
Yeah, I know some dumb, people they're like, is it hot outside? And then they'll go to their phone and check the weather. Like, just go outside.
Exactly.
I feel like school right now is so easy for our generation. Like, it is so incredibly easy. Like, especially now that I'm in senior year. I mean, I'm not taking incredibly hard classes, but like, they don't even give you homework because they know you won't do it. Like, it's like they would rather have you pass than like teach you something. And like, the amount of kids that held back is like nothing. Like, it's just, oh, keep going ahead, go ahead, go ahead. And so like, seeing like classrooms from like older generations, it seems like, oh, they're like learning, there's more respect to the teachers. Now like there's like such little discipline that every class
there's
is
like no respect
at all. Just because things are easier does not mean it's better. My friend goes to college in San Diego, and there's literally a group chat for people in a nursing major just to cheat on the work. And if we're having nurses that don't even know how to like give you medicine, stuff like that, it's scary.
I did want to hit on how the pandemic impacted you guys.
Yeah, I think it did impact our generation. I know personally,
100%.
I was always so great at talking growing up, and then going into coronavirus, not really like talking to my friends a bunch and like being kind of like antisocial and to myself. Coming out and having to talk to adults was like terrifying. I didn't want to do it at all. I couldn't even talk to like my peers.
When I went back to school, I felt like I was still in 8th grade in middle school. So it was very hard for me to adjust, and this was definitely like the biggest change like that affected our generation, if you think about it.
Yeah, it's
we didn't deal with the bubonic plague or a big, stuff like that. Like this was the biggest impact. And I remember going back to school, I was so anxious. Like I would take half a Xanax, almost every morning because it was so bad.
There was this day where we can finally take off our masks, and it was so weird seeing everyone, but I never knew what to do with my face. It was just crazy.
I understand. You kind of feel insecure a little bit.
3, 2, 1, go.
On my personal point of view, I'm like Buddy here in the middle. I'm like, I can say agree because
I knew I was gay at a very young age.
Because
so I've kind of always been ready, or kind of always known.
That's kind of how I am.
Like I was over here at like 6 years old, like looking at a TV screen, and there was like a boy, and I was like, he's cute. Like, I was like, yeah, I already knew. So like, I feel like it just depends what you determine what exploring your sexuality is, because at least in my book, I feel like I've already labeled it.
At least
I'm already confident and happy with who I am.
Now it's very normal to explore yourself, and I think even just like having sex, it's very, very naive for any adult or anyone to ignore the fact that like people are gonna do that. Like it's or people around you are gonna do that. They're gonna talk about it, or you're gonna see it on TV, and with the internet, like we have access to everything these days.
Yes.
No one is judged like for waiting or wanting to try stuff, as long as everyone's being safe, as long as it's consensual, as long as you're okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
I also grew up in a very private Christian school. It was very it was like a bubble, and we didn't talk about all that stuff, but now I attend a high school where we actually have wellness classes. Also, social media helps. Those random accounts on my For You page, they're like, how to kiss a boy or something like that.
I don't even know.
What is it? WikiHow, sure. Like, there's just so many courses, you know. That's why you gotta seek them out and find a support system.
It's kind of like for our whole generation happening earlier and earlier, like where we get introduced to it with like the internet and stuff. I kind of like it to be delayed. I kind of like to be a kid for as long as I can.
But
No,
do you feel
yeah,
like
I agree with
people
that. I
don't take
do.
you seriously if you continue to, you know, act younger and like want to be younger?
In the sense of like this question, like sexuality, like I feel like I'd rather, because right now it's like most of the pressure is just like, oh, I feel like I'm so behind because I haven't done this, this, and this yet, when it should be so normal.
It's important that we do educate ourselves on these topics, because once we're older, if we aren't, that could take a turn for the worse. I feel like approaching it naturally or in a professional way, like in terms of like school, if they're providing like health classes, I think that's just the best way to go about it. And I completely agree with you. Like I was also exposed to nasty on the internet, and like no one wants to go through that.
I don't think that the school should do it because I think it's really weird. You know, I can never stop laughing personally. Like when I'm in a sixth grader and they say the word scrotum, how are you not supposed to laugh? I don't know. I think it's more of a personal endeavor, but
I think Broski might be a little bit immature, but I just want to ask what
personally, I'd just like to find out on my own and maybe be encouraged by the school, but I don't like the classroom. Let's learn about sex all sitting together as a bunch of teenagers. Like that's awful. That's like the worst thing ever.
It's kind of cringy.
I feel safe
No
at
way.
school.
Okay, everything goes to the left.
Go.
I feel like I'm somewhat in a way, like
My
in a
campus
way,
security
like,
are
when I was.
amazing. They have a personal relationship with all the students. I've had bomb threats at my school. I've had like shootings literally walking distance down the street where the school had to go on lockdown. It's unfortunate, but also like it just makes me really aware. Like for every classroom, I have what's my hide plan? Who are my people? I don't feel comfortable putting my phone in the phone chart because if something happens, I want to text my family. And that's why COVID like lifted a lot of weight off my shoulders because I didn't have to worry about that all the time. Also, like a lot of people at my school who have mental health struggles, I'm always afraid that like someone won't be properly treated for that and then they'll just snap one day, you know?
My school has had multiple sexual assault scandals. Like my history teacher right now, my world history teacher, if it weren't for the current sub, it would be with basically a pedophile.
No, that's insane.
It's scary. And when she mentioned like the bomb, I remember last year someone created an account with our school name and it was like shooting or something on this day, and our school ended up canceling school for that day, and it was horrible.
I feel so fortunate to have grown up in a really privileged area where there's not a lot of violence. However, I feel like I'd be ignorant to say that a school shooting would never happen. Because all it takes is one kid out of the 2,500 students that I have to take a gun to school and shoot people. And I feel like there's so many different openings on my campus where that could happen.
We have gates, but it honestly looks like a prison.
There you go.
I won't lie. We have security guards. They're not armed, which was a conversation that came up. Should our security guards be armed? And another conversation came up, should our teachers be armed? You know, there's just topics like that. I remember this was actually recently, one of the old students at the college threatened to shoot up the whole school, and so even we had to go remote. So it's just like, never feel safe.
My social media presence is important to me. 3, 2,
I strongly
1.
disagree.
Go.
To me, I think social media as a thing, like you could say YouTube is social media, but
particularly post, like maybe just my
I
story,
do this for fun.
But
I
like
really
I'm not
don't care.
like
I
constantly posting,
like,
and
I
if
care,
you do,
like,
that's
not really.
perfectly fine. Like that's a lot of people's outlets, and especially creativity.
I don't own a single social media, and like not as like a flex. I'm just saying like I hate the presence of an app in my mind. Like, oh, you should do this. Like it's an app on my phone. Like I don't want to give it any part of my life. So I'd just rather
stop giving things power.
I think sometimes with social media nowadays, it also can fall into career, which is really weird, but that's like what I do. It's like, oh, I can't post that picture of me like flipping off the camera with my friends because like a college or a future boss, because your digital footprint is so real. But I also I love having social media. Like I've had it for years. I've always like tried to ground myself and realize that it's just for fun.
That's just what I think.
It's not that serious.
There are some people who I know who have like shown or done some really crazy stuff, and it's spread everywhere. Like, there's some things I do not need to know, and people just tell me. Like, on Instagram, there's like close friends, and there's like normal story, and I post on close friends so much more than I do on normal story.
Or like a spam account.
Yeah,
I post on my spam account. Like,
Bro, okay, I ain't gonna lie to you. Nah, this could be really controversial, but I think spam accounts are stupid. They're dumb. I think because I gotta show another side of me. I can't just be pure on one way. I'm like, okay, then why you gotta do a whole other thing on this account? Why are you trying to be not like a saint on this account, but then be a demon on the other account? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, stop trying to be so pure on one account, and then the other account you're like the most terrible person of all time. Like, come on, like that's just gonna throw your whole character off. It's gonna throw your like, should I trust this person type of saying. But I think it's really dumb. That's just what I think. You know, people make it just because they want to sometimes, but I think, to me, from a personal standpoint, I think it's really dumb.
A couple years ago, I would have been right there, like on the strongly agree. You know, like, because when I moved to the new school, a lot of people were like, oh, how many followers do you have? If you had
like,
over 1,000, it's like,
that's what
no,
I'm saying. Hey,
you got clout, like, you're good. Digital footprint, that is no joke. Like, everything you post will come back at you. I'm so glad
this is about digital footprint for y'all. I'm living it off for y'all, games.
Like, do y'all remember that?
Hey,
that was ridiculous.
That's why I'm very aware of what I post. I make sure this is what I want everyone to see.
Yeah, exactly. The same way.
When you're a kid,
why,
like, you want social media, like when you first find out about it, like when I was 9 years old, I was like begging my mom to let me have Instagram. And now, like, I'm even embarrassed of like the little like selfies I would post because like they're so stupid.
Exactly.
So,
then why?
Like, looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I would totally never let like my 7-year-old on social media, like, you know, things like that. But I actually did have social media very young.
Yeah, me too.
I got Twitter when I was 6. My mom made it and managed it, but I would still like, I would tweet about like my little kindergarten like crushes.
And you like having your mom like to like guide like the account. I feel like I didn't have that, unfortunately. So I feel like it just depends. Like, your digital footprint could be much more harmful like when you don't have parents that know how to handle social media or know how to prevent it. Because my parents, they've never used social media. They don't have a single account. So growing up, like, begging, I don't think they knew the harmfulness of it. And I don't blame them for that at all. But I feel like that's what led to me being exposed to a lot of stuff. So I feel like definitely with the new generation and...
No. But that's just how it comes. You, like, you know, you mess around, you find out. Like, yeah, that's a negative point of view, like a negative analogy. Like, you find out, but like, yeah, you get what you want, you get it. There you go. That's how reality. I mean, obviously you don't know, but that's what time comes. If you get something, you'll eventually find out. Like, you'll find it out. Be like, oh, got a phone? You'll find out, and you'll be exposed to all these bad things. You'll be like, okay, you should have learned this in the first place. I mean, yeah, should have been educated on that. But, you know, it's just kind of hard, just depending as a minority, you know.
I don't know if I'll have kids, but if I do, they're not on social media, at least for me.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, that's just my point of view.
Those kids who use iPads, it's so
an iPad kid.
addicting. It's so addicting, and you need parental controls because social media is crazy.
It is.
Like, or having your parents run the account, regardless. It's just that's so important.
Or even having influencers like Andrew Tate who are like influencing these like little boys to think that mentality is like normal.
Yeah.
I feel like social media has
wait. It's not normal. What it look could. Okay, that's very debatable. But I'm just saying that what Andrew literally Tate is saying, he's saying basic human things, and he's just putting it online. But he's just bending it more, and he's just saying things more. He's saying more explicit things in there. But that's it. Like, most of it's just normal stuff. It's basic human things, and he's just putting a different, a way flavorful taste on everybody's mouth. And okay, that just sounds pretty pause, but like a different way he put it out. And there's a lot of people just have a different perspective and like, ooh, very debatable. But yeah, on me, to me, I don't really care.
It basically altered my personality, especially during COVID. And I feel like if it could change me that much, just imagine a 6-year-old having access to a phone for their basically entire childhood. But like, honestly, I got so sensitive to being in front of camera that I feel like I kind of forgot about digital footprint and stuff like that.
I have hope for the future.
I'm in somewhat. I have hope for the future, low-key. Just the way our generation is kind of bad. And this man just went straight to strong disagree. I'm in somewhat.
I don't know, man.
Disagree.
Seeing an iPad kid, I'm like, wow, what job is he gonna have? You know, I mean, he knows more about like scrolling to the next video than like anything that like will help him get a job. I don't know. I don't feel like I very much hope for our and the next generation.
Yeah, no, same.
As like I feel we keep getting like the younger generations kept getting like profited on and like abused almost.
Yeah, more like.
When I heard this question, I kind of thought about
kind of a little bit more spoiled. I feel like
social justice and like the issues that we're experiencing right now. Like there can be a change, and I just really don't think that people back in the day were seeing that type of change. Everything was just thrown kind of under the rug, not really spoken about.
I still love to dream like, oh, I would love to achieve this one day, but even if I don't have that financial capability, I still have hope. I hope I could get there one day, and I still try to remain positive.
Everyone's goal at the end of the day is just to be happy in what they're doing and make a difference in either your own or someone's life. And I think like just by having this discussion, like there's so much hope for everyone in here to go on and be successful in that, no matter what it is. So I have a lot of hope for the future, and I'm really excited, even though I'm nervous and I'm anxious about a lot of it.
That's basic human. That's basic human things.
My personal life, and what that means for me. Because I know I'm never gonna stop until I'm happy with what I'm doing.
I mean, I feel really grateful for our generation because a lot of us are very open-minded to having these types of conversations.
No, yeah.
Whether or not
there's one thing. For our generation, there's a good majority, not all, but a good majority. They're really open-minded and they're mindful, and I really like that. And that really brings a lot of hope in the future. But I just feel like the way some people are raising children, it's kind of lazy, and you know they can give more time, and then you know they're not being the parent that they want to be. You know what I'm saying? That's just on my thing on the future next generation after mine. Like I just feel like, you know, it's not very bright, but there's hope for that. It's just that you know, just the way how kids are being, you know, portrayed out there, and the way kids are and what they're doing are, you know, they're very advanced. And I mean, yeah, it's difficult for me to understand. You know, I grew up in a different time than what they did, but it's just I feel like, you know, you shouldn't just obviously just spoil your kid like that. Yeah, that's just what I think on that.
Relates to us or exists in our nature, but I feel like people are so open to change now, and I feel like that's just great moving forward. And I feel like a lot of us Gen Z people have gone through such traumatic and bad experiences that we're gonna become amazing parents one day.
I think I remember like during quarantine there was like a sign in New York that said we had like this many years left and before our world like ends or something. And my sister is an iPad kid, and I've seen how she is, and it's like I want to say I have hope for the future, but just based off what I'm seeing, it feels like there's no change.
Yes, I agree with her there. Great video. This is a great video. I really like this one. This one was speaking facts all over the place. Well, you know, thanks for watching. Thanks for leaving a comment. Thanks for showing your friends. Thanks for hitting the notice. Thanks for keep watching the video. Stay relevant. Being in a loop on us. On the channel, being in the company, being in the business. Thanks you for watching. Leave a comment, hit the notice, leave a like, hit the subscribe button where you're at it, and yeah, show all your friends on this one. But yeah, this one really nice. I really like this one. This one really good. I might do another one of these, but we'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching. This monkey just did a video. And yeah, see you in the next one. Bye.